Hello, I'm Bernard Hickey from interest.co.nz and welcome to 90 at 9, brought to you in association with Bank of New Zealand. This is your morning briefing where you get everything you need to know in 90 seconds at 9 o'clock, starting now with news. The New Zealand dollar has hit a fresh 10-year low versus the Australian dollar of 74.23 Australian cents. Now this is partly in anticipation of weak GDP figures in New Zealand today. We'll get those at around about 10:45. And they're expected to show virtually no growth or even flat growth in the September quarter. That contrasts, of course, with Australia, which is going gangbusters on this commodity boom. Now that's good news in just a low New Zealand dollar versus the Australian dollar for those manufacturing exports for sale into Australia, or for those tourism operators who are hoping to get lots of Australians back here over Christmas and the summer. However, it still remains off its record low of 60.3 Australian cents in 1985. Meanwhile, more news from Southbury Group, the company controlled by Alan Hubbard that owns South Canterbury Finance. It was put into receivership, and we've got detail now from the receiver's report showing that it owed $85 million to South Canterbury Finance, a company it owned, and Hubbard's accounts, according to the receivers, were, quote, incomplete and unreliable. There are also concerns about transactions involving Southbury and South Canterbury. Those concerns have been referred to authorities and will be investigated for potential breaches of legislation. Remember, Alan Hubbard is being investigated by the Serious Fraud Office. Meanwhile, news overnight from the United States, where US GDP growth in the September quarter was revised up to 2.6% from 2.5%. However, it wasn't as strong as what the economists were expecting. They were looking for 2.8%. Inflation, too, in America was lower than expected and shows that the economy there is really struggling to get going. Existing home sales in November were also less than forecast. However, the oil price hit a two-year high overnight of $90 a barrel, and the US Treasury continues to sell enormous amounts of debt to fund a budget deficit that will run to $1.3 trillion in the United States this year. That's 9% of GDP. The third year in a row it's been running deficits of almost 10% of GDP. US Treasury, between Christmas and New Year, will sell $99 billion worth of new bonds. I'm Bernard Hickey. That was 90 at 9, brought to you in association with Bank of New Zealand.